The vision is deep, like where do I sleep? I cannot keep going on like this, it's wrong. I try to be strong, I guess, but for too long it's been a mess, it's dangerous. So if I survive this day, I'm blessed. This day, I'm blessed. Yeah, but the nights are worse, feels like I'm cursed. No more self-worth, and trust me, it hurts way worse than what I put into a verse. So lonely at first, no one knows me cause I'm broken and doesn't work till I go berserk. Pick a perk so I can go harder than the price of rock is. Shit, someone needs to stop this hair time seeing little kids eating their dinners off cardboard boxes. This the era we're in, welcome to the era my friend, where it begins and it ends like the sickest of trends. Like the sickest of trends, yeah. I don't even know how far it'll go, but the numbers just grow. So I suppose I flow while the cold wind blows. Never knowing who's stressed, man, when my child doesn't care about who's next. Man, I've had it up to my neck, but out of respect I didn't wanna move yet. But as you can see, Leo puts the cunt in country. If it was up to me, I'd run them all out. Couldn't care less if we fall out, man, I'm ready for it. Never forget all the sorrow or debt, not even a bit of regret, I bet. Something's gotta change, boy, step by step. Better move quick before I lose my head.
4,000 children sleeping in accommodation that isn't their home tonight. I don't like to think that any one child has a home.
Every child should have the right to somewhere safe to sleep and have a proper daily routine. But the fact is, not enough is being done, something no child should have to go through.
How do you get them into schools and do simple things, routine things? Life must be so just disrupted.
As an Irish person, to have this type of thing going on is an embarrassment and a tragedy.
When I don't see it, when I don't encounter it, I'm inclined to close my eyes to it. I'm not sure what to do.
Exactly, what can you do? Build a couple homes, supply them food. From this place I dwell, this my inside, praying all night for God to get me out this hell. I've been feeling unwell cause as of late I just can't wait no longer anymore. What the fuck am I waiting for? What the fuck are you waiting for? For me to die till I realise these are real people with real lives. Cause it feels like I'm all alone, no home of my own. So I freeze at night and my breathing's tight, and it's feeling like I'm forgotten again. Cause all they offer is a sleeping bag and a fucking tent. Some cardboard laid out on their cement. It's evident they don't give a fuck, and all you have to do is take a look out your front door. Don't wanna see it no more, but as more time passes you'll see it, I'm sure. It's not just the fucking cities that's hit. There's hundreds of thousands of people like this. Thousands of kids that are running the risk of dying overnight in this country. That's shit. I'm just being honest and I say it how it is. You're a paycheck short of being like this cause as rent rises. How can we end this crisis? Is there something I missed? But enough is priced, but it can't get worse. But it probably can't, so we've gotta take a stand and band together before we lose our land, before we end up in the dirt.
Bright lights, blind eyes, two worlds in one world collide. Lifetimes, different tides, with the same, just going different ways. Time to call a spade. When's the day we could both break free? Shadows haunt me, I'm so lonely. Let go of me now. Don't you tell me I'm here drowning, suffocating in your power. The darkness haunts me. Can't you let me sleep easy? You had your fun in breaking me. Turns out, goodbye, baby.
I know, I gotta go. Seems like a dream and I've lost control. And these things that I've seen got me trapped in a hole. But I mean, everything is not my fault. It's obscene to even think that I'm not alone. When I see these fiends on your mobile phone, and telling me you love me when you get in home, but calling me a druggie when gets thrown in my face again. And we can't make amends in this place. I just need a bit of space to then think about all the time we've wasted, when I should have seen the signs what's it take to end all this fighting. Look, and I'm true, walking on eggshells when you're in this light, as the moods isn't gonna end well. But what I might do, I think the lights went out as the darkness grew.
The darkness haunts me. Can't you let me sleep easy? You had your fun in breaking me. Time's up,
tracks back to back from RickyP, Homeless and Darkness featuring Frankie Kine. And we're delighted to have RickyP in the studio with us. And we're also here with Laura Dunn, our very own Laura Dunn, for a chat with RickyP. Ricky, you're very welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Hi, Ricky.
How's things?
One of the things that always interests me about Irish hip hop is the genesis, or how it evolves. Like, you know, how did you get into it? How did what were your influences?
I got into it really early, like back in primary school. Like I used to get in a lot of trouble, and then there used to be those helpers in the class, you know, the help the teachers, and she was made sit beside me so I wouldn't mess, and she got me into poetry. And once I got into poetry, it kind of just all stemmed from that, you know what I mean?
Right, and what were you listening to back then anyways? What was you?
God knows, but it wasn't hip hop back then, but the first hip hop song I think I heard was Forgot About Dre by Eminem. And I just fucking lost it. Do you know that fast part in the hook? Nowadays everybody gonna talk. That just blew my mind. I said, yeah.
And at what stage did you think, right, I can do this, I'm gonna try this?
Well, I used to hang when I was with my friends. We used to sit in the car and smoke weed, and like they'd put on Tiger beats and stuff in the car, and we just started rapping to it, and just constantly I got better and better, and you know.
Yeah. And how far back are we going? Are we talking like early 2000s?
We're talking early 2000s here, yeah, definitely.
Thinking with the Eminem.
2002, 2003, 2004, 2005. Up to, and then 2006, it kind of, when my dad died, I was 12, 2006, and that's when everything just kind of started on drugs, started drinking, and then writing constantly, you know.
It all stemmed from poetry.
All stemmed from poetry, yeah.
There's a big tradition of Irish poetry here. Like you've got Sligo Yeats, for instance, like, you know. Any Irish poets like would have influenced you at all, or any?
Not no one in particular, but just poetry itself and the rhyming part was like a puzzle to me. Do you know what I mean? It's like a big jigsaw that I could do myself anytime.
I always feel like poetry is like such a good outlet as well. Did you find that for feelings, for emotions, and emotionally?
Yeah, because you know, I wasn't one to talk to people like professionals and doctors and stuff like that, especially as a kid. You know, it's a bit, you know. Bit of an ask for a kid to go and talk to professionals about emotions. You know, it just doesn't happen. So music and hip hop is just it's been a rock for me from day one, and it always has been, and probably always will be.
A lot of the lyrics you write they're about social issues, but there are social issues that you've experienced yourself. The first tune you put out, what was that?
Hard Liquor.
Hard Liquor.
Yeah, it was kind of about growing up in foster care, and my father was an alcoholic, and you know, going on visits to see him, and you know, seeing him turn up drunk, and you know, it was kind of a head fuck, but at the same time, you know, it was tough. But
rapping about it, like, that's kind of your outlet, like, you know, that was rather than going to see the you know, somebody professional about it. That's you getting released into lot.
It's a medication in itself. Do you know what I mean? It's therapy. Do you know, anytime I'm angry, anytime I'm sad, anytime I'm happy, any emotion at all, I know I can write it out.
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly some uncomfortable lyrics there.
Yeah, definitely.
Obviously, you've mentioned the drugs, alcohol, homelessness, all real examples that you can draw from.
Yeah. See, I like to talk about things that I've been through myself or seen myself with my own two eyes. I don't like to say anything that I haven't seen, or I don't like lying about stuff. You know, it just, that doesn't faze me at all. I'd rather say it honestly, because I know people will relate to it a lot more and respect it a lot more if they know how honest I'm being and hear the emotion in my voice when they hear it too.
And we were just chatting earlier about one of the reasons you decided not to have a rapper name, I suppose.
Yeah.
You just stuck with RickyP.
Yeah, because I just wanted to stay true to myself, really. You know, I didn't want to be anybody else. I just wanted to be me, and for me, that's good enough.
Yeah, homeless. Like you said, you write about stuff that you experienced. You've experienced homelessness.
Oh, yeah. When I left foster care, I got kicked out of my foster home. My own fault for constantly getting in trouble and what else. But when I was homeless, it was tough because like I felt like I was all alone and I had nobody. Do you know what I mean? Even though I did, but in my head I didn't. Do you know what I mean? I was just that much in depression, I was sleeping rough, and all I had was this rat box, you know, that they put the poison into.
Yeah.
All I had was one of those I used to light fires in so it wouldn't spread. And that was the only thing keeping me warm. No tent, no blanket, nothing. Just that.
Was this up in Sligo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was really tough time, but I got through it.
And were you underage at that time, or was it,
No,
you know,
I was about 18, 19.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I was still very young, but old enough to...
And just going back to the poetry thing, I was just wondering, would you still have notebooks and that sort of thing that you kept from when you were really young?
Maybe in my mum's house.
So maybe they're there
Maybe
somewhere.
up in the attic somewhere. I'd have to check, but to my knowledge, none. I don't usually keep anything. I don't really, because it's just not my thing. I don't collect old stuff. You know, once I've done the song, that's it. You know, or if I don't use it, I'll dump it, I'll shred it, I'll burn it.
Yeah, and you want to kind of move on to something fresh from there, yeah.
I won't even let it take up my headspace, because I find the more things I hold on to, the more it influences me, and I don't know, it doesn't work out. I like starting from scratch, and, you know, keeping an open mind whenever I start a new song.
Yeah.
So I don't keep no old stuff.
And from homelessness to where you are now, how did you get out of the homelessness, and how did you?
A long and hard road of constantly trying treatment centres, or, do you know what I mean? And family helping me and support, but I've been in 2 treatment centres, one in Limerick in Brewery called Coomera, and I was in one in Blanchardstown called Coomine. So yeah, I've really tried to, you know, change my life around and do better to get out of that situation.
It's just a vicious cycle, really, isn't it? It's starting with, you know, the problems with your parents, and it just carries on, doesn't it? It's so difficult to break.
Well, for me, it was more not what I seen from my parents. Well, that had a huge influence, but around Tubbercurry growing up, there's nothing to do, nothing for young people. Do you know what I mean? There was, you were either in sports or you weren't, and that was it. Do you know, if you weren't in sports, you were doing drugs and drinking, and there was nothing else.
But that's a thing in a lot of rural towns, like, and people don't realise that, like, you know, that if people aren't, you know, involved, there's no outlet for people that don't want to engage in sports.
But sports isn't for everyone. I did like sports. It's just drugs took over more. Do you know?
Yeah, there's no outlet for the arts either, too. Like, even there's very little of it anyways. Like, you know, if it is, there's a type of a snobbery towards certain types of music. We don't like Irish hip hop, for one thing. People don't want to address the issues that a lot of artists are talking about. Just moving on, you brought out Sober, and that you talk about your own family, now, and you also the 25th of December, which we're going to be playing now in a few minutes. They're quite introspective tracks as well. It's, you know, that you've talked about your life. One of the things that kind of resonated there when you were talking about missing out on seeing your daughter and all that. I think that's one of the things that happens with breakup in relationships. In, you know, that there's that you forget
that gap that she needed me there for, that I wasn't there for when she needed me the most. At her, like, she was only a baby from, say, when she was born all the way up until she was like 5. You know, she's 7 now, so it's only the last few years that I'm back full time, and, you know,
you're kind of catching up then.
Yeah, playing catch up constantly, but you know, any minute with her is worth it. So.
Do you have a song written for your daughter?
I mentioned her in Sober.
Yeah.
You know, that's why I got the tattoo on my hand of her name, is because, you know, usually when I lose somebody, or when somebody loses somebody, you get their name tattooed, and that's how I felt when you know, that's why I got my daughter's name, because I felt I lost her.
Yeah, that's so really dark as well, way to look at it.
Yeah. I have a son too, but I don't have his name tattooed, because I've been there from day one.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But her, it just feels like I've lost so much time, you know, in her life, not mine.
Yeah, that's really sad, actually.
Yeah, it really comes across. What like it resonated with me when I heard that lyric. I thought, like, yeah, well, I kind of went through the same experience myself.
I'd never big up drinking or drugs or violence. Never. It's not a nice thing, and I wouldn't wish it on anyone. Being honest.
Drugs. There's obviously the doing of it is fun, but there's a social consequences.
What goes up must come down.
Yeah, there's a social consequences of it as well. Like that kind of affects children more so than you. Like then that's and that kind of comes across quite a lot through your lyrics. Like but the 25th of December, writing that's another. That's kind of introspective on you again. Like, is that more? How would you come up with the writing process for you? How does
my writing process? I write on a piece of paper what I want the song to be about, and then I'll write ideas around that of every single subject related to that, and then I'll write rhymes for every subject, and then I'll just try and tell a story from beginning to end, while trying to keep as many things rhyming and interconnected through the whole thing as possible.
So it's kind of Irish ballad type of mentality. That's where they get a lot of Irish hip hop. It's so different.
Yeah, I like to stay on subject. I don't like to stray out from what I want to do, or what I want to say. So in that aspect, it's kind of hard, but at the same time, I know the song will be 10 times better if I can just do that.
We heard the song Darkness just there. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah.
You had a bit of a collaboration going on there with Frankie Kine.
Yeah, Frankie's amazing. That song was really good. It was a lot better than I even expected it to be. Her voice is absolutely beautiful. I probably agree, but it's just to kind of paint a picture of like a bad relationship. Do you know what I mean? Everyone goes through them, and that was just kind of stuff that I do think about in relationships, and I do see,
Yeah, and is she a friend of yours? How did you get the collaboration going with that?
No, well, I wouldn't know her too well, but she'd be friends with friends, and she's done stuff for people in hip hop in Ireland before, and I heard her on either Instagram or Facebook, and I really liked her voice, so I texted her and asked her to jump on,
and she was happy to
Yeah,
really we were talking a bit about that earlier. How easy it is nowadays. You can jump on YouTube and get in touch with people all over the world. And do you find yourself doing that quite a lot now?
Yeah, I'm over and back with people in America, working on stuff with people in America as well, continuously. Sending stuff over and back. You couldn't do that 10, 15 years ago. It was impossible. You'd have to jump on a flight and go straight over. So with internet, there's no limit.
So Ricky, it's been really interesting talking with you. Just plans for the future. Would you have any plans for live music maybe?
I've been asked to do a couple of things. Obviously you can't plan too far ahead now with COVID, and nothing is set in stone. Anything can change, but I'm working hard on an album, my first album. I want that to release in September for my birthday, and I'm just going to take it day by day and see what happens, and hopefully things will start to pick up towards the end of the year.
Brilliant. And where can people go to find your music?
You can look up RickyP Era on YouTube or RickyP on Spotify.
So you're all over the social media. Mm-hmm. We'll find you somehow.
Mm-hmm. You'll get me. And we'll leave it at that. And thanks very much, Ricky.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Well, we're going to play it with the new track now, September 25th. RickyP and September 25th. CRCFM.
1992, I just entered into this strange world as a new born, but I'm 3 months early. £1.5, I survived but barely. In an incubator from the second that my mum gave birth. But I swear that at first I was shaking so much from the drugs in my blood. It was worse than taking fits and you're in bits when you're drunk. Felt like I was cursed from the second I emerged. Still makes me fucking sick when I put it into words. Look, there's still a chance that your baby boy will pass though. Ricky's got a problem with his hair, then he's that close to dying. Fuck trying now, praying is your last hope. Should've really known it from the start. Look, you're that old, don't know fucking better now. Seriously, it's past jokes. You need to do something and you better act fast. So later and I'm out, brought me to the house. The drink around us being loud. Every single second now it counts. Forgotten all the doubts. Got the social workers calling round, checking that we're sound, but she reckons that we're not. Inspecting all the rooms, dirty bedding on the cot. Letting out the fumes cause the smell of mold and rot was in every single room. Genuinely she was shocked, so she took us from a 2 and brought us to a spot out in Tubbercurry with a lovely family that they got. And when I fucking landed there was nothing on my back, just bottles and a couple that my parents must have packed. Call it what you want, but I was smaller, 6 months old, being addicted to crap that if I didn't get it, I would scream like mad. And everything I said, man, I mean, that's facts. Yeah, fast forward a little while. Now I'm looking healthy, bit of weight and I smile. This family isn't wealthy, but at least it's fucking mine. I never knew how much I needed this till time passed, but when I realised what the fuck's happening, my foster dad is beating my mother for a crap again, making shit up in his head when he's drunk. Jealous about everything my mother fucking done, and all she ever done was cooking clean for the scum. Still left her full of bruises in the places that some people wouldn't notice, but trust me though I did. I would try and fight him, but I was just a quiet kid. Did anything I could, slept between them in the bed, so at least when he was drunk he was hitting me instead. Still I wasn't tough, 3 or 4 when this was bred into everything I seen. Still I kept it in my head. No.